The manuscript found in Accra by Paulo Coelho. Chapter 4. "Tell us about solitude," said a young woman who had been about to marry the son of one of the richest men in the city, but was now obliged to flee. And he answered, "Without solitude, love will not stay long by your side, because love needs to rest, so that it can journey through the heavens and reveal itself in other forms. Without solitude, no plant or animal can survive, no soil can remain productive, no child can learn about life, no artist can create, no work can grow and be transformed. Solitude is not the absence of love, but its complement. Solitude is not the absence of company, but the moment when our soul is free to speak to us and help us decide what to do with our life. Therefore, blessed are those who do not fear solitude, who are not afraid of their own company, who are not always desperately looking for something to do, something to amuse themselves with, something to judge. If you are never alone, you cannot know yourself. And if you do not know yourself, you will begin to fear the void. But the void does not exist. A vast world lies hidden in our soul, waiting to be discovered. There it is, with all its strength intact, and it is so new and so powerful that we are afraid to acknowledge its existence. The act of discovering who we are will force us to accept that we can go further than we think, and that frightens us. Best not to take the risk. We can always say, "I didn't do what I should have done because they wouldn't let me." That feels more comfortable, safer, and at the same time, it's tantamount to renouncing your own life. Woe to those who prefer to spend their lives saying, "I never had any opportunities," because with each day that passes, they will sink deeper into the well of their own limitations, and the time will come when they will lack the strength to climb out and rediscover the bright light shining through the opening above their head. And blessed be those who say, "I am not brave enough," because they know that it is not someone else's fault, and sooner or later they will find the necessary faith to confront solitude and its mysteries. For those who are not frightened by the solitude that reveals all mysteries, everything will have a different taste. In solitude, they will discover the love that might otherwise have arrived unnoticed. In solitude, they will understand and respect the love that left them. In solitude, they will be able to decide whether it is worth asking that lost love to come back, or if they should simply let it go and set off along a new path. In solitude, they will learn that saying no does not always show a lack of generosity, and that saying yes is not always a virtue. And those who are alone in this moment never be frightened by the words of the devil, "You're wasting your time," or by the chief demon's even more potent words, "No one cares about you." The divine energy is listening to us when we speak to other people, but also we are still and silent and able to accept solitude as a blessing. And in that moment, its light illuminates everything around us and helps us to see that we are necessary, that our presence on earth makes an immense difference to its work. And when we achieve that harmony, we receive more than we ask for. For those who feel oppressed by solitude, it's important to remember that in life's most significant moment, we are always alone. Take the child emerging from a woman's womb. It doesn't matter how many people are present. The final decision to live rests with the child. Take the artist and his work. In order for his work to be really good, he needs to be still and hear only the language of the angels. Take all of us. When we find ourselves face to face with that unknown visitor, death, we will all be alone at that moment, at that most important and most feared moment of our existence. Just as love is the divine condition, so solitude is the human condition. And for those who understand the miracle of life, those two states peacefully coexist. End of chapter 4. Chapter 5. And the boy who had been chosen as one of those who was to live rent his garments and said, "My city thinks I'm not good enough to fight. I am useless." And he answered, "Some people say, 'No one loves me.' But even in cases of unrequited love, there's always the hope that one day it will be requited." Others write in their diaries, "My genius goes unrecognized, my talent unappreciated, my dreams scorned." But for them, too, there is the hope that after many struggles, things will change. Others spend their days knocking on doors, explaining, "I'm looking for work." They know that if they are patient, someone will eventually invite them in. But there are those who wake each morning with a heavy heart. They are not seekers after love, recognition, or work. They say to themselves, "I am useless. I live because I have to survive." But no one, and absolutely no one, is interested in what I'm doing. Outside, the sun is shining. They are surrounded by their family, and they try to keep up the mask of happiness, because in the eyes of others, they have everything they ever dreamed of having. But they are convinced that no one there needs them, either because they are too young and their elders appear to have other concerns, or because they are too old and the younger members of the family appear uninterested in what they have to say. The poet writes a few lines and throws them away, thinking, "Nobody's going to be interested in that." The laborer arrives for those and merely repeats the same tasks he did yesterday. He believes that if he were ever dismissed, no one would even notice his absence. The young woman making a dress takes enormous pains over every detail, but when she wears it to some celebration, she reads the message in the other people's eyes: "You're no prettier or uglier than any of the other girls. Your dress is just one among millions of dresses all over the world," where at this very moment similar celebrations are being held, some in great castles, others in small villages, where everyone knows everyone and passes comments on what the other girls are wearing. But no one commented on what she was wearing, which went unnoticed. It was neither pretty nor ugly. It was just another dress. Useless. Younger people realize that the world is full of huge problems that they dream of solving, but no one is interested in their views. "You don't know what the world is really like," they are told. "Listen to your elders and then you'll have a better idea of what to do." Older people have gained experience and maturity and have learned about life's difficulties the hard way. But when the moment comes for them to teach these things, no one is interested. The world has changed, they are told. You have to keep up to date and listen to the young. That feeling of uselessness is no respecter of age and never asks permission, but instead corrodes people's soul, repeating over and over, "No one is interested in you. You're nothing. The world doesn't need your presence." In a desperate attempt to give meaning to life, many turn to religion, because the struggle in the name of a faith is always a justification for some grand action that would transform the world. We are doing God's work, they tell themselves, and they become devout followers, then evangelists, and finally fanatics. They don't understand that religion was created in order to share the mystery and to worship, not to oppress or convert others. The greatest manifestation of miracle of God is life. Tonight I will weep for you, O Jerusalem, because that understanding of the divine unity is about to disappear for the next 1,000 years. Ask a flower in the field, do you feel useful? After all, you do nothing but produce the same flowers over and over. And the flower will answer, I am beautiful, and beauty is my reason for living. Ask the river, do you feel useful? Given that all you do is keep flowing in the same direction. And the river will answer, I am not trying to be useful, I am trying to be a river. Nothing in this world is useless in the eyes of God. Not a leaf from a tree falls, from a hair, not a hair from your head, not even an insect dies because it was of no use. Everything has a reason to exist. Even you, the person asking the question, I'm useless, is the answer you give yourself. Soon that answer will poison you and you will die while still alive, even though you will still talk, you will still walk, eat, sleep, and try to have a little fun whenever possible. Don't try to be useful, try to be yourself. That is enough, and that makes all the difference. Walk neither faster nor slower than your own soul, because it is your soul that will teach you the usefulness of each step you take. Sometimes taking part in the great battle will be the thing that will help to change the course of history. But sometimes you can do that simply by smiling for no reason at someone you happen to pass on the street. Without intending to, you might have saved the lives of a complete stranger who always thought he was useless and might have been ready to kill himself until a smile gave him a new hope and confidence. Even if you were to study your own life in detail and relive each moment that you suffered, sweated, and smiled beneath the sun, you still never know exactly when you had been useful to someone else. A life is never useless. Each soul that came down to earth is here for a reason. The people who really help others are not trying to be useful, but are simply leading a useful life. They rarely give advice, but serve as an example. Do one thing. Live the life you always wanted to live. Avoid criticizing others and concentrate on fulfilling your dreams. This may not seem very important to you, but God, who sees all, knows that the example you give is helping Him to improve the world, and each day He will bestow more blessings upon it. And when the unwanted visitor arrives, you will hear it say, it is fair to ask, Father, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? But now in this final second of your life on earth, I am going to tell you that what I saw. I found the house clean, the table laid, the fields plowed, the flowers smiling. I found each thing in its proper place, precisely as it should be. You understood that small things are responsible for great changes, and for that reason I will carry you up to paradise. End of chapter 5. Chapter 5 ending. Oh.